Hi everyone. Good afternoon, good evening, depending on where you are. Even could be a little later in the evening, maybe in the morning. Thank you very much for joining. Welcome to Doers Circles 0 to 1. This is our 54th episode of 0 to 1, where we've been discussing different aspects of doer life. Doers for us are the ones who do things, the ones who challenge things, the ones who change things. And these could be entrepreneurs, these could be freelancers, these could be contractors, these could be solopreneurs, and a whole lot of women entrepreneurs out there as well. And we've had many speakers who are founders themselves, who've changed the status quo, who've challenged the status quo, and who've also introduced new things to the world. And today we have someone who is also challenging things, who's also doing new things, and is from a slightly different background to the founders that we've met before. Our guest speaker today is Vania Dangwal Eternal. I hope I pronounced your name right, Vania.
Perfect.
Vania is from India. I'll let her introduce herself properly, but I'll give a very brief intro. Vania is a sportswoman herself. She's played competitive sports, tennis, and she's been in the game for, I guess, almost a decade or more. And then, with all those experiences and the agility that it has built, with the confidence that it has built, with the strength that it has built, she's now moved to the startup world, but she's also making connections between the sports world, the learnings from the sports world to the startups world. So she's founded her own business now, and that's Courtside Side Club. And we would love to know more about that too, Vanya. Basically, the intention of this session today is to talk about sports entrepreneurship to some extent, and also how sports and being active in general could help our founders in their business, our freelancers in their work, our professionals in their career. I myself is not a professional sportsman as you are or you were one year, but I've been into sports myself at a much lesser standard, if you like, mostly into cricket and stuff like that. But then with career, I gave up most of it and didn't do a lot of that for the most part of my career. But I should also say in the last 5 years or 6 years, I've started being active again. Not so much competitive, but at least to keep myself active. I do swim a couple of times a week now, and we play cricket, softball cricket though, not leather ball cricket, softball cricket twice a month maybe, and also I try to walk. A certain number of steps every day and can keep myself active. But the only reason I'm mentioning this is that I feel better. I feel good as a
Yeah.
person. A few years ago, when I was just focused on my work career and had given up all physical activity, in that sense, that actually started to impact life and happiness,
Yeah.
wellness in many ways. And some of it, I would say, I'm still kind of challenged with, right? But with having started sports again and then being a little more active, I feel a lot better. And as I said at the beginning, it does bring in the agility, it does bring the competitiveness, it does bring the feel that you want to achieve something and you want to do well in work as well. So it's not a waste of time. It's actually something that adds to what you want to do. So with all that, Vanya, I know I took a little longer than I usually do, but I'm also excited to learn more. And this is the first time that we have a sports person as a speaker, at least from what I know, at least at your level of professional sports. And definitely we haven't spoken about sports entrepreneurship, as I mentioned to you before when we spoke. We've done cultural entrepreneurship with another
Yep.
Indian female founder again. And we've done few other specialties, but after cultural entrepreneurship, I feel like today is a special one on sports entrepreneurship. With all that, Vania, thank you again. And stage is all yours. You can start sharing and tell about yourself and get into your presentation.
Thank you. Thank you so much for inviting me and congratulations on completing, 54 episodes. That's no mean feat. I mean, I think it takes so much to organize such things and for the community, right? So I'm all for the community. You'll know through my journey as we'll speak that how much community has impacted my life and my career. So I think sports and community both have very equal weightage in my life in terms of sort of transforming it. But thank you for doing this, and I mean, love the audience as well, right? Like you said, doer circle, because I totally believe that, everybody have brilliant ideas in this world, right? They're unique to what they do and how they think. But a lot of success today depends on how you do things, how you implement them, right? And so that's something that gives out a strong message. I'm glad this community is all for it. And I'll quickly share my screen. So, I mean, I don't want to make it boring, but just some cues for what I'm going to talk about. Otherwise, it'll be more, just me speaking and just talking about my journey and over the years as an entrepreneur, as an athlete, and now, I mean, as a community builder, I've worn multiple hats. And sports has been like this underlying theme in my life. It's a big part of my life. So, and I'm back to sports again. But, I will maybe start with the beginning, Vanya as an athlete. So, but yeah, just before that, I'm based out of Delhi, NCR, and I've been born and brought up in Delhi, India. Finished my education, most of my education here, and then I did my MBA from Goa Institute of Management. I mean, it's a lovely place. It's not the Goa we usually visualize. It's pretty far from any beaches that you've ever been in Goa, but it's still like a lovely campus and a very, very good space to sort of study and, among the nature, etc. And yeah, so I mean, that has been some part of my journey, but for most of my life, I've been an athlete. I have played professional lawn tennis. I was India number five, and then sort of rose to different levels and played WTA as well, which is like the highest international standard that you can play in. So, like how Serena Williams was number one, I had a ranking of 1032 in the world. And because of tennis, I've, traveled the world. I've been lucky enough to sort of see a lot of cities, a lot of countries, being accustomed to their culture and how they are, and that's why I have like deep respect and adaptability for different places and different people. That's one part of the job that I really loved, traveling through sports. Even though when you travel through sports, it's mostly just like, focusing on your game, going to the venue or the stadium, and then just coming back. You don't really get to do a lot of touristy stuff or sightseeing. Even though I used to make sure just, one day at least we get, we're, going to that place, at least explore it a little bit. But I think we do, as tennis players or as any sports professional traveling, you do get to sort of, talk to, interact with a lot of locals in a way where, tourists won't be able to do. So that again has been such a big learning and such a big part of the lifestyle as a sports person. Um, so yes, I've played tennis for more than a decade and really, really enjoyed myself. And I think that sort of really set the base or the foundation of whatever doing today and whatever I've done up till now. I feel like it really sort of builds character, and every child today, I feel like we should encourage them to play, even if it's not at a professional level, but just making them stay active, making them say, play some sort of competitive sport so that they learn a lot of the things that they won't learn that early on in life. It's about discipline, it's about resilience, it's about, not giving up, and it's about sort of taking failure in their stride, because as I think today's as kids were so pampered by our parents, by our families, that sometimes later in life it's just difficult to hear a no, which is what you'll hear all your life pretty much, right? So I think sports sort of teaches you these little things about life which nobody else can. So I really, really encourage all the parents to put their kids in some sports so that they learn and they sort of build this strong personality and character which will help them through their life. And talking about from my own experience, I think I've learned so many things about life through sports, whether it's just showing up even when you don't want to, right? So I've played matches where I've lost, and it's like late night matches you've lost, and then tomorrow morning you have to go back to train again, and with that mindset where you're already sort of processing what happened and what went wrong, and you're frustrated. But then there are no excuses. You need to show up at practice tomorrow. You need to sort of start preparing for the next tournament, or you basically can't miss practice. So it's those little things that sort of built um, built my discipline over the years. It's about consistency. It's every day you won't feel motivated. People think that a sports person, they're so lucky, they're playing every day, and they get to do this for life and as a career. But let me tell you, let me just to break that myth, that every day it's not fun, guys. It's like every day is like any other job, right? Sometimes you don't feel like going. You're like, hey, why do I need to wake up at 5 a.m. today? I just feel like sleeping, and it's a Sunday. Everybody gets to enjoy a Sunday. Why can't I just sleep in? But that's the life that we choose. And I mean, it gets frustrating. So like I said, it's like any other job, and it gets frustrating sometimes, but you don't really have an option to call your manager and be like, hey, I'm sick and I can't come in today, because you're your own manager, you're your own boss, and you gotta sort of beat that and motivate yourself to go and motivate yourself to sort of show up. um, while I, say all this, I also feel that over the years I've learned that recovery and rest is so important, because at a young age you don't feel that as much as you do now. But recovery is part of life and rest is part of life, so you got to do it. I know as doers we're over ambitious, we're we want to, and obviously hustle culture is so glorified that we want to sort of keep grinding day in day out. But what we don't realize that, hey, recovery and rest is part of the game, is part of the hustle, and you got to do it so that you play the game for long term. So I mean, those are just some learnings from my sports career, and then sort of to jumping on to the entrepreneurship part a little bit. So after I studied MBA, I joined a corporate bank and worked there for about a year. And I thought that, hey, I mean, obviously my vision was to, build something in the long term and do something of my own, do something that I have created. But I thought that it'll be good to have some sort of, learnings from the corporate as well, to see how big organizations work, etc. So I've worked there for about a year, and then sort of took a leap of faith into entrepreneurship, where I built Mike's Hot Dogs with a friend of mine. And the idea was at that time, and especially in India, a lot of street food market was getting organized. And we thought that, hey, what is a great street food which has a lot of cultural backing behind it, and which is easy to make, which doesn't really need a large real estate to sort of manage. And then hot dogs sort of fit perfectly in that thesis. And we're like, we'll bring New York style hot dogs to India, and starting with Delhi. So we did, pop-ups. We did a round of proof of concept in Delhi NCR. We went to every co-working cafe there was, and we went to every food festival there was, and sort of tried our products, heard what people had to say about it, and whether at what pricing they were liking it, at what pricing they were like, maybe it's too expensive, we don't want it. So we tried all of that. But unfortunately, that was at the time when exactly when COVID hit. So we sort of had to shut it down because we didn't know when the normal world will start again. So we just went, both me and my co-founder went our separate ways, and did something totally different. I went on to join Head Start as head of partnerships and operations there. Essentially, Head Start is a startup community. They started back in 2007, and ever since they've been building initiatives for entrepreneurs in India and a few chapters abroad. It's a not-for-profit organization, and most of the people working in Head Start are volunteers, and these volunteers sort of organize these sessions and demo days, etc., for entrepreneurs in their region. So, so that Head Start has really taught me a lot about community building, about how to sort of design these initiatives to make the maximum impact for the stakeholders that you're working with, and so for the past 5 years, I've been working with Head Start, designing different initiatives, impacting a bunch of entrepreneurs at the grassroots level, be it, getting different investors from different cities to their city, which, so India is a vast country and every city has a different dynamic. So every city is not as, accessible or glamorous as Bangalore, Delhi, Bombay, but innovation is happening in every city, right? So there are so many amazing startups being built from tier 2, tier 3 cities as well. So as part of Head Start, we designed something called Bharat Pitchathon, which was essentially, unearthing these startups from different cities, not just from the metros, but from, say, Jaipur, Roorkee, and other smaller cities in India. So we've been running successfully for the last 4 years, and we're doing multiple editions of Bharat Pitchathon, which really, sort of is heartwarming to see a lot of these startups coming from different cities and parts of India. So that's been very encouraging for us. And throughout this journey as well, right, I had realized that there's so many parallels that you can draw between being an entrepreneur and being a sports person, right? Like how you have to keep adapting to different things in sports, because there's so many variables involved. Similarly with the startup ecosystem, right, every day there's some new innovation that's happening, and you have to keep adapting yourself, molding yourself. You can't be rigid about anything. You have to hear what your customer is saying. You need to know what they're saying and what it actually means, right? So you need to be sharp about it, and you need to know how to sort of, when you enter a conference or enter a pitch room, how you need to read the room. Similarly, how you read your opponent's mind, and it's more of a mental game than anything else. And like a sports person, I feel like entrepreneurship is also a long-term game. Instant gratification is not something we get as entrepreneurs. So I think that's also one of the key learnings, and which has really sort of kept me grounding and keep building and keep giving to the ecosystem before even asking for something. So yeah, so that's all about the past, but super excited to tell you guys about what I'm doing currently. So currently I'm building the Courtside Club, which is essentially a community-led sports plus networking initiative, which is bringing people together to play. And the community that we have started off with is, of course, the community for entrepreneurs and investors, because that's the community that I've been a part of for the last decade. And I have been to enough conferences and networking events where I know that, you just exchange cards with people and you barely get to know about them. You might know their company name, but that is not all to what they are. So the idea through Courtside Club was, can we really get to know people, right? So I feel like sports is such a crazy way to know people, because it's a great conversation starter. Because I mean, Yashash would really back me on this, that cricket is something that people can talk about at length, especially in Asia. That we love cricket, we're very competitive, and around our home countries, teams. So I feel like it's such a great way to bond, and it's such a conversation starter. And when you actually play side by side with somebody, you get to know about them so well. You get to know about them in like 15 minutes that you'd otherwise get to know in a very long term. You get to know then how they react under pressure. Are they a team player or not? Um, you know, um, how they are as a team member. Are they motivating you? Are they just trying to hog your balls, etc.? So there's so many things that you get to know when you actually get to play with somebody right next to you. And I feel like sports has a way to sort of break the ice, bring people at ease. And so we started off with pickleball as the sport that we play for to start with, because I feel it's such an accessible sport. It really cuts across all age barriers. It has very low entry barrier to it. You just basically need some equipment, which is also not very heavy, or it's not the sport in general is not very skill based. You can literally come with any of your friend and you can start playing, and you'll learn slowly. And but it's not something as difficult or as time consuming as tennis, squash, where you really actually first need to learn the sport, otherwise you'll injure yourself. So we've been playing pickleball, and it's been great so far. I feel like I'm actually seeing what I visualized in terms of people just going up to each other, making teammates, and talking to them not just about sports, but okay, what they do, and then they're finding business synergies, etc. So it's been very heartwarming to see that something that you had envisioned and visualized is actually taking place, and it's happening successfully. Very recently, we launched a home for the community as well in Delhi. So I believe the future of networking and the future of social networking is, having a third place as well. It's not just, sending friend requests or having LinkedIn friends, but also where something you sort of come together, meet, and that's how you sort of increase the belongingness of the community as well. So we have opened up a base with pickleball courts, and we very regularly organize mix-overs, tournaments at that place, and just make people come together, meet, and socialize. So it's just really come a full circle for me, where I started off as an athlete, then went into entrepreneurship, now doing entrepreneurship, but with a sports angle to it. So talking about that, I feel like sports is really such a great way to sort of superpower your career as well, right? And you can start anytime, and it doesn't have to be very early on as kids. I mean, if it does, then it's amazing, but you can start playing any sport. And I feel like pickleball is such a great way to sort of start any sport, because like I said, for all the reasons I said, that it's easy to play, it's super accessible, and the learning curve is very steep. You can just quickly start playing, and it's addictive as well. So I feel like for all the doers, for all the high performers, where you're just grinding it out day in day out, it's good to have some sort of time for yourself, where it's like, it's not waste of time. Essentially, it's helping you, it's enabling you to sort of do better in your actual job or in your actual career as well. You push through challenges when others might quit very easily. But if you play a sport, it sort of builds that within you without you even knowing it, right? It gives you a lot of clarity under pressure, because in sports, you're taking decisions in milliseconds, and you're trying to see what's the right decision to where to hit the ball, how to do it, etc. So it really, really make your decisions very clear. And in business, in anything that you are doing probably right now, there are some high stake decisions that you'll have to take. So it's very helpful when you have a clear mind. It builds a lot of structure and discipline within your life and system, right? You have a routine. And I am a person of routine. I really, really need my morning routines to be there. And then you start off with working, and then evening there's again like some sort of cooling down period where it could just be journaling or just sitting with your thoughts, meditating, etc. So I feel like it sort of helps bring structure to your entire day, and really, really helps. The other thing I think sports really gives you is self-awareness, because without that you can't improve. And it's very important for us as doers, as entrepreneurs, also to be very self-aware. I'm not saying everybody is perfect, or you need to be perfect to do something. You really don't have to be perfect, but you just need to be aware of your strengths and your flaws. So that essentially helps you, hire, get your teammates, get your co-founders, because if okay, I am amazing at sales, but my finance is not that good. And especially if you're amazing at something, you might want to spend more time doing that instead of handling everything. Because as doers, I think we also have this bias of the, hey, I'll handle everything, I don't need anybody else to do this for me. But and I've been guilty of the same thing, right? Just trying to manage everything really, really sets you up for a lot of chaos in life. So lately, it's I've realized that it's good to delegate. It's good to know what you can manage with your limited time that you have, because time is a very valuable resource. And if you're self-aware about what are your flaws, you can sort of just very nicely delegate it to your co-founder, or maybe hire somebody who um, has that as a strength, so that they can handle that part for you. And then your startup or your agency can really, really grow. So very, very important for that. And another very important thing, even if you're not playing like a team sport, I feel like sports give you that team dynamics that you need to learn for running your business, for doing anything. Ultimately, every business is a people's business, and you need to know how to sort of manage people and how to manage your clients. So I think it really, really gives you that social power and that EQ, if you can say so. And lastly, I feel like, in any sport, you lose more than you win, unless you're like Roger Federer. But I mean, it really, really teaches you how to sort of take failures in your stride, and how to sort of take them and convert them into something that can motivate you and take you further in life. And I feel like in startups or even freelancing, in any profession, I mean, any high performing profession, you would be failing more than you succeed. So it's important. You can't just bring yourself down and be like, hey, I'm such a failure, I can't do this. But the approach needs to be, okay, I've failed this. Why have I failed at this? What can I do better to so that I don't fail the next time? And I think sports sort of gives you that grounding and that learning, where you can sort of take your failures as learnings and move forward very, very quickly, because that's important. And yeah, and I know as founders and freelancers, everybody is under tremendous stress about your clients, about work. You're working under timelines that you need to manage. So I think sports, even if it's just half an hour or 1 hour of your day, and I think it'll really, really sort of bring a lot of clarity in your day. And it's not something that I will tell you when you do it, but I only when you do it, you'll realize how important it is to sort of have that time for yourself. And I can be a testament to that, that even if you've had like a very crappy day, shitty day, you're feeling very tired, but then that 1 hour of just playing something would give you so much energy that you'll come back feeling fresh. And you'll be able to take on more work than you think you can do. So it's super important to sort of have that you can call it me time, you can call it whatever, but to have that for yourself during the day so that you can make better decisions. You also, through sports, you also form a community of people. You'll have your friends that you play that sport with every day. And sometimes that is such a big advantage to have, right? Having a community who understands you or who just plays with you and just listens to you. It could be just like a soundboard. Not everybody will be a startup founder or a freelancer, but then I think just having a friend to vent sometimes helps. So having that community really, really would help people. Now, just coming to the global opportunities for sports. I think it's such a big industry. $600 billion, be it in fitness tech, be it in infrastructure. It could be just coaching platforms, merch and lifestyle like apparels, etc. And community startups are doing so well these days that, because I think the next generation is becoming aware about the advantages of living an active lifestyle. I think younger people today, they're no longer want to sort of hang out in bars or pubs, but they are like, hey, can we just be active? Can we go for like a mount climbing session? Can we go to play something where we get to spend time with our friends as well, but also we're not sort of ruining our health. I think people are becoming so health conscious, so that's such a big opportunity, not just from a professional lens. Like everybody doesn't have to cater to professional athletes, but this the socializing bit of sports has become such a big opportunity lately that and I feel like that's why pickleball is doing so well, right? So it's just growing exponentially, not just in the United States but in every part of the world as well. And I think in Asia it's doing so well just for the sheer because we have younger population as well who wants to sort of socialize. And it's a great opportunity for anybody building within that area, I feel. Of course, infrastructure will always be a big opportunity because as long as sports exist, you need the infra to play. And while, of course, that'll be a little capital intensive, but I feel like that's some so, solid thing that you'll be building. Wearables, again, I think India is having a moment in wearables where we have some amazing companies, right, from Fitter to Ultra Human to Gabit, and they're doing so well, and try and sort of improve every day in terms of how they can provide people the data on their health and how we can improve just having that awareness about, okay, my I'm not sleeping properly, or my heart rate is a bit bouncy. It just gives you so much control over your health and the decisions you take. I think for anything to improve, you first need to be aware about it. You first need to be aware that something's wrong. So I think wearables is doing such a great job at that. We have a bunch of aggregators coming in India as well, where they're saying, hey, you don't really have a partner for sports, or you don't know which venue to book. It's more like a Zomato for sports. So we have Huddle, we have Khelo More, where people can just book venues for any sport, be it cricket, be it pickleball, be it tennis, badminton, you name it, and they have it. So yeah, I feel like it's world is your oyster. If you're interested in building in sports today, there's no better time than today. And if you're building for India, or you're just seeing India as a market, I think it has huge potential because our we have like a massive demographic dividend advantage here. A bunch of 65 of our youth population is under 35, which you can cater to, and they're the most interested in sort of sports, socializing, just catering to the fan base in India is it's such a massive opportunity. And I think that's why all these fantasy game leagues have been doing so well here. And just talking about pickleball a little bit more, feel like I mean, within just my own eyes, I can see there are just courts cropping up every now and then here in the locality, and people are coming, playing. It's still fairly a new game here, but I feel like it's picking up and just exploding so fast. Infrastructure investment is increasing in the game. There are a lot of fitness initiatives that are scaling up. Government has been pushing, fitness and just active lifestyle, so for the community and for the citizens. So I feel like it's the right moment to sort of build something in the sports industry here, because I feel like all the pieces are sort of coming together. So yeah, I mean, massive opportunity to create niche communities. There are so many communities cropping up for adventure sports, for board games, for rock climbing, for hikes, and I can't believe like so many people are interested in these things, and they're actually planning hikes together and just going for a morning walk to a monument together, and for cycling, for running. So, I mean, even though, of course, communities are a bit hard to build and hard to manage and hard to monetize as well, but I think that's where the gap is, right? Can we think of ways where we can capture values also through communities? So that's something that is a question for all of us to think about. There are a lot of local leagues that are coming in. I see there's some league or the other happening for pickleball every day. There's a particular league just for lawyers community. So it's going as niche as possible. And I feel like that's such a big opportunity to sort of do that, not just having pro leagues, but having corporate leagues, having leagues for a particular profession, etc., is such a cool way to sort of bring people together through sports. A lot of wellness startups have been cropping up in India, be it just for meditation, be it for mental health. So that's been big. A lot of digital tools, event management tools, just to record matches, just analytics about how you hit, how how you can improve your game. And it's not just restricted to the professionals, but also for people who are trying to improve their game, improve their health. They're trying to see every time that how can I get data for something like this, and then maybe use it to improve my game. A lot of recovery tech, massaging tools are also coming in. Hyperize is there, and I see that a lot of gyms are incorporating these tools today, because people are not just coming there to just lift weights, but also, like I said, recovery is such a big part of the lifestyle, that they're saying, okay, can we take an ice bath? Can do you have a steam room in your gym? And what kind of recovery tools do you have? What kind of massages do you have? So I think that is also such a big part of the opportunity going forward, because these tools will not just remain in the gyms, but will find ways to homes as well. So can we build something that is for the retail consumer as well? And yeah, we see a lot of athletes being creators, so that whole and entire content community ecosystem is also coming together. I feel like every company is a media company today, and everybody, everyone and anyone, they need to have a personal brand going forward. So that's also something that's a massive opportunity for us as doers, as business owners, where we can sort of drive value. And just to sort of debunk some myths that you don't really need to be a pro athlete to build in sport. Anybody can build in sport. It's just you need to, I think, be passionate about it, definitely, because to understand what the industry is about. And it's always good to start where you are with what you love. So you don't have to be a pro, but if you feel like you are interested enough and passionate enough to solve a problem in sports, please go ahead and do that. Start a community. If nothing, you'll have, hundreds of friends to talk to play with. Build a movement around sports. Just maybe turn your passion into something sustainable, into a sustainable business. You can enable a lot of play. So there are a lot of platforms that are coming in, like I said. So can we do a little better than that to, bring about better experience to our clients and to all the sports enthusiasts. So yeah, I mean, I think I've spoken a lot. So, but I'll just like to conclude by saying that sports has changed my life and I'm now using it to build one. So it's a great opportunity for you guys also to not just incorporate sports in your lifestyle, but maybe build in it, and hopefully we can collaborate as well. And so just, I mean, these are my social handles. I'm very active on LinkedIn. So feel free to reach out to me if you have any questions or you just want to discuss something interesting that's coming up. Always up for, you know, talks and debates. So yeah, that'll be it. And happy to have
Yeah,
any questions or anything that
sure.
you might want to know.
Thank you very much, Vania. That's pretty comprehensive and very well presented, very well structured. I think suits a sportswoman in that sense. Most sports persons that I've associated, they're pretty structured. Like they like to work to a timetable. They like to work to a structure. They like to organize things. And even from your presentation, I can see that you're not chaotic in that sense that you bring structure to something. Thank you very much. I have a couple of questions myself, but I also have a few
Sure.
questions coming from the audience. The first question I was going to ask Vania was about the interest in sportsmen and women to start businesses. At least from what I've seen in their early years of sportshood, if you like. Uh, this is after leaving school. They still continue sports, maybe say up until they're 25, 30. And then they are also taken care of by a corporate, either as a sponsor or they work maybe a bit of part-time, and they're paid by corporates for that time that they're still playing, like up until 25 years of age or 30, if it happens, maybe even up to 35. Do you feel like that kind of discourages some people to become entrepreneurs at an early stage? They kind of get absorbed into corporates, and then even once they stop playing sport, they continue as corporate employees. Is that something that you've noticed? That this is something I kind of thought
Sure.
as you were speaking.
So, I feel like sadly, at least from what I have seen in India, it's not as much, like that's not the large part of the sports professionals, that get absorbed in corporates or that get absorbed in government jobs, etc. So that's a very little section
Yeah.
of the sports professionals. In fact, I would like to encourage more more corporates and more PSUs to sort of absorb sports people for the sheer skill set that they bring, right? And I feel like that will encourage a lot of people early on, a lot of kids and a lot of youngsters to actually get into sports because if you're already interested and you're good in sports, a lot of people actually drop out in their senior high school phase because that's when exactly you're choosing which stream to choose, what profession to choose. And I think at that time it becomes a very difficult choice, not just for the person but for also the family to sort of be like, okay, I mean, being Asians, we all know that how we're so sort of one single track mindly in studies, and we need to do well.
Yeah.
We either can be an engineer or doctor, and there is no third option. So it is a difficult choice, but I feel like if corporates and more people commit to sort of absorb a lot of the sports professionals that we have today, I feel like we'll have more people coming into sports. So that's something that I would encourage and not discourage, really.
Yeah. And Vani, I also feel entrepreneurship is an appropriate career choice for sports professionals
Yeah,
because when you play a sport, you are pretty independent, right? You make decisions
true.
on the go. If you're playing tennis out there, if you are playing cricket, you're batting out there. Yes, there are some guidance from your coach and maybe teammates, but but you make lots of decisions yourself, whether you play this shot or that shot, if you make a run here, etc. So I guess you're trained to make decisions, and you're also trained to be independent. So I also feel you've been trained to be entrepreneurial in that sense.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. I mean, I totally agree. I feel like now that I've worn sort of both hats, I see so many analogies between a sports person and an entrepreneur, and I see that difference, right? That the approach towards sort of problem solving, towards failure, towards wins is so similar. And I think sports is really a training in entrepreneurship as or for entrepreneurship for sure. And in fact, I was just compiling this list of people who have, played some sort of competitive sport and sort of transition into entrepreneurship. So it is a long list of really successful
Mm.
entrepreneurs. So something that comes to mind is somebody I really admire is founder of Canva. And
Oh, really?
she actually wanted to be a figure skater, and she couldn't
Hmm.
make it. And but we all know where Canva is today, and I think her
Of
sports
course.
background has given her so much grounding and so much inspiration to sort of do well here. In fact, it's a very famous story where in Australia, back when she was building Canva, there was not a big ecosystem of investors. So there were very small segment
Yeah,
of investors, and that actually used to come to Australia for a surfing competition. There was some surfing competition in Australia that they used to come to, and she figured out that, hey, I need to sort of somehow learn surfing and get into that group just so that I can pitch Canva. And I think that shows of the resilience that she has,
resilience, yes.
and the kind of hustle she's ready to sort of make for this. And actually, she met one of her early backers of Canva through a surfing competition. So,
Right, right. And Vani, I was also going to ask you about females in sports entrepreneurship. When you talk about startups and entrepreneurship in general, we like to talk about women entrepreneurs as well. I myself have worked a lot with women entrepreneurs at Dual Circle as well as I was working at Meta. We've trained lots of female entrepreneurs, and something that I'm personally passionate about, and Dual Circle also is. Do you see in this area of entrepreneurship, because this is the first time that we talk about sports entrepreneurship, is this something of interest, something that kind of excites women to start businesses, or is it more kind of dominated by men at this point in time? You can also talk about
um,
India if that's
yeah, so
fine.
I think at large, of course, I mean, even if you see just from the sheer volume of men entrepreneurs versus women entrepreneurs, it's pretty skewed.
Yeah,
But I think that's changing. And, I at least what I've seen so far in the Indian ecosystem is that there's so many initiatives being built for female entrepreneurs. And I feel like it's an advantage to be one. You can really open a lot more doors being a female entrepreneur because there's specific initiative designed just for female entrepreneurs as well. So I feel like it will encourage people to have more female co-founders or more having more female in their founding teams, just because you get conversations with a lot more people, and there are funds which encourage to have sort of female founders, and they only fund female run startups as well. So while of course right now, like I said, the number is very skewed, and even more skewed in sports entrepreneurship, but I feel it'll change slowly, and it is
right.
changing just because I feel like from a systematic point of view, there are things that are being done to encourage female entrepreneurship, and it's good to have sort of females around within your organization just to get a different perspective.
Of
Um, you
course.
know. around problem solving, around how to approach things, and that I feel people are realizing that and are sort of, having more female participation in the business as well.
Sure. Vanya, we'll take a question from the Q&A thread. The first question is your business scalable? You did mention about your business where you, I guess, mostly focus on pickleball at this point in time, and you
Yeah.
spoke about doing some of these sessions in Noida, I believe, and in Delhi and Riyadh, right? I guess that probably is the reason
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
maybe this
Sure.
question came, right? Is this scalable, right? India is a large market for a lot of things. A lot of people like to go to India because of market size, and you are in India anyway. And what's your thinking, I guess, when you also talk about entrepreneurship or about startups, we speak about how would you scale this as well. Maybe it's not scaled as much today.
Yeah.
I'm not too sure, but maybe at least
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
your roadmap would be interesting to know.
Sure, sure, definitely. So, there are two parts to the business that I'm running. One is the pure community bit where we're reinventing networking, bringing people together, and encouraging them to play sports and also drive some business value through networking. So that's one part. The other part is the infra play that we're talking about, having a third place for the community to sort of come in, network, and hang out. In terms of scalability, of course, it's not as scalable as like a SaaS product where, you've made a product, you deploy it, and then you just have GTM strategies for different geographies. So it's obviously not as scalable as that. And I feel like any community play will not never be that scalable, because if you rush to scale it at any cost, it brings down the value of community. So I keep telling this to people, right? Like, having LinkedIn groups, WhatsApp groups is not community. Community is the people you know, the people you interact with, that is the community. And I would much rather have, 500 people who know each other, who help each other, and are of a, have a single sort of cause of belonging of, for that group, instead of having 10,000 people who don't really know each other, or who are just a part of a WhatsApp group. So yeah, that has been the vision as well. So of course, I mean, just coming back to answer the question, it's not as scalable as a tech product per se,
Yeah,
but it's scalable in terms of how many communities that can be made. So it's not just about entrepreneurs and investors, but we can extend this to female entrepreneurs, female professionals, lawyers, any other profession who wants to sort of come in together, or any cause of belonging that we can find, right? It could be just cricket lovers, it could be pickleball lovers, so on and so forth. So in terms of that, I think in terms of breadth, it's scalable, but not in just in terms of depth. Of course, it is scalable, but it'll take time.
yeah, thank you. One thing I was going to note, one year was, although it's not directly related to this question or even the next question, in your presentation, one slide that I really liked was types of sports businesses that are available, like the platform side, community type of
Interesting.
products, and the sports gear type of stuff, even coaching side of things, etc. I
Yeah.
think I really like that, and that probably illustrated the landscape of sports entrepreneurship. Actually, that was a question that I had noted to ask, but I think that's not needed because you very clearly laid out. I thought I'll just mention.
Thank
And
you.
even when this goes online, that's something a lot of people would, I guess, refer to, because that gives them ideas as to where they may want to position themselves.
Yeah.
Um, the next and last question in the Q&A thread is from Kevin from Singapore. Will you do other sports than pickleball? Um, I mean, I do agree with you as well that I also see a lot of interest in pickleball here in Singapore as well. We actually played the pickleball as a team, dual circles team here in Singapore.
Wonderful.
We have teams in Singapore and India, and the team here did play about 3 months ago. We haven't played regularly. We used to run regularly, by the way, on Fridays.
Wonderful.
And our founder, CEO, Hela Priest, is a competitive sportswoman herself. She's played
Wow.
badminton at national level. She's Danish in Denmark as well as in China. She's played competitive badminton, and she also says this that if someone's been into sports or is into sports, they bring whatever the qualities that we spoke about. And even during hiring, sometimes this gets discussed because if someone comes from that kind of background, we
Yeah.
tend to like because they don't want to. Not that they can't accept losing, but they also don't want to lose. Right? They want to fight for something, and
Yeah.
then you fight. But if you lose, you can also accept, and the determination, the agility, and everything. So I think this is great. I guess to be promoted among startups, even among corporates, to kind of bring these qualities in. But with that, I'll let you answer that question. Will you do other sports than pickleball?
Absolutely. I think that was the idea. So for me, the idea was to get people play more and more sports and be active and just reap the benefits of what we just spoke about, right? Like have clarity of mind, be more active as a person, and it brings discipline, routine, etc. And comes with every sport. And I think every sport in terms of playing has a different dynamic. Like, so say tennis versus a basketball versus a squash versus any other sport, right? So I feel, and I personally enjoy doing different stuff. Um, and another advantage, I think it's good to do things with your hands. Like it could just be writing, drawing, it could be playing, right? So I'm a big believer of doing things with your hands, doing playing different sports, trying out different things. So for sure, I'm planning to expand into different sports. So, the good part of having a community is they'll tell you when to do it, right? So so we meet very regularly to play a sport, and then now people will just start within the community will start talking that, hey, should we also play box cricket? Should we also, who plays tennis? Do we have any tennis players here? Can we maybe plan a tennis game separately? So I feel that's one of the advantages of doing anything community driven, like any startup, any business community driven, is that you just don't have just you and your team, but you have these thousand other people who act as team members and will tell you when to do what and whether something is working, something is not working. So they'll be your biggest fan and your hardest critics as well. So within the community now, we feel that there are enough people who have either played tennis before or would like to learn. So yes, we'll definitely introduce new sports to it. Right now, we're just doing pickleball just for the sure that a lot of people are willing to play, are already coming together because of it. But we definitely intend to play different sports. And tennis is already on the cards. Like we do have a tennis mixer planned next month.
I see. Right. Vanya will ask the last question because we are getting over time as well, but I would
Sure.
like to ask this question. Usually, sports persons are driven by the next challenge, right? The next objective that you have, either to win this cup, or to win this game, or to win this competition, or to beat this person.
Yeah.
I guess, I mean, I wasn't as competitive, but I remember I had very low level objectives myself in my playing days. But someone who plays professionally, they definitely have a goal, right? And you're working towards that goal. And my last question would be, what's that kind of big goal for you, Vania, as a sports person as well as a founder?
Absolutely. So for me right now, currently, I think I'm working on building the community further. Having more people on board who wants to play any sport and stay active beyond the investors and the founders bit as well. So, which is the next community that I would want to sort of onboard at Courtside Club. So that's definitely one objective, and the other objective is to expand our infrastructure play as well. So the idea is to collaborate with a bunch of schools, colleges, because I feel like that is a good place to start with, having collaborations with them to build pickleball courts, and they already have like a sporting facility within their premise. So can we use that for our community? Can we build that as a third place for the community as well? So yes, these two things are on the cards, and we plan to expand exponentially within this financial year, so that we not just play pickleball, but play different sports, have more community members in place, while also having a third place where people can meet and socialize.
Thank you. And one thing I love about your business is the community angle. Dual Circle is also about community as well. Again, it's a business. We sell services on our e-commerce platform. We empower people with content and everything, but community is almost the backbone. And
Absolutely.
we as a company, I also as a person love community type work. So great to see that you mix sports, entrepreneurship, and also community. I think it's a nice blend. So thank you very much, Vania. And I
Thank
think
you.
you presented well and created interest about this area. And this will go online in the coming days as well, and that will give access to more people to learn, listen, and get inspired about sports entrepreneurship. Again, Vania, thank you so
Absolutely.
much, and thank you to everyone who joined and listened, and to those who will listen when this goes online as well. Thank you.
Thank you so much. It was a pleasure.
Thank you. Bye.